So, we're going to kick off the practice today talking about two things. One is the puppy technique, and the second is this chemical called dopamine that's produced by your body. A lot of times, when you're asked to focus on something, focus on your breath, focus on your senses, whatever it is, it's quite difficult. You can also find that it consumes a lot of energy, right? It's an effort to focus on something. And frankly speaking, it can be a little bit boring to just sit there focusing on your breath. So I wanted to talk about dopamine first and foremost. From an evolutionary standpoint, when we found a berry that tasted well, we were rewarded. We learned something new. Dopamine was produced. When we found something that wasn't very tasty or bitter, we didn't have that dopamine released into our body. Dopamine is released when you learn something new. So when you practice, rather than forcing yourself to perform a certain way or to follow the technique exactly by just breath, or whatever it is, be curious and be open. See what you can discover, see what you can learn by observing, by questioning, by finding out what your body, your mind, your emotions, your sensations are telling you. What information are they feeding you moment by moment? This curiosity will help little bits of dopamine to be released into your body, and you'll have a lot more fun during the practice. The second thing I wanted to mention is the puppy technique. A lot of times when we are sitting, standing, or whatever it is, trying to focus on something, we notice our mind is wandering. We hear something and our mind starts thinking about that. We think about the past, we think about the future, and we analyze a lot of what's happening right now. It can be very difficult for our mind to stand still, to be still, to stay in place. This relates very much to when you're training a puppy. Think about it. You bring a puppy, you tell it to sit and stay. What does the puppy do? It runs off. So again, you go to the puppy, you pick up the puppy, you bring it down in front of you. Again, sit and stay. Our mind is like this puppy. It wants to run off, sometimes even wreak havoc and bite up, the shoes and the furniture. But what do? We're patient, we're gentle, and we're kind. We're kind to the puppy as we bring it back, and we're patient. The same with our mind. Every time you notice your thoughts, right, your mind wandering, just like you would gently and kindly bring back the puppy, do the same with your mind. Okay? So be curious, try to learn something new, and remember about the puppy. So let's do a little practice together, and I will help guide that process for you. So sit, get comfortable, find a position that you can maintain for a little bit of time. You can maybe imagine that you're a puppet, and there's a puppeteer that's sort of pulling you up, so you're sitting in a more dignified manner. If you'd like, you can narrow the gaze, picking a point in front of you, or you can gently soften the eyes. If you want to keep them open, keep them open. And really start to just pay attention to your breathing. You don't need to change it. You don't need to deepen it. Just notice the breath. Where does it come in? does it leave the body? Are there any senses that are active as you do so? Maybe you're noticing the rising and the falling of the chest. And if you'd like, you can deepen or elongate the breath if you're comfortable with that. And you might notice your mind wandering off. It's okay. It's great if it's doing that. It means you're thinking, and it means your brain is working. So congratulations. But if you'd like to increase your or train your attention, when you notice the mind wandering off, gently and kindly revert your attention back to the breath. And if the puppy runs away again, gently and kindly sit the puppy back down to the best of your ability. Being curious to the thoughts, the sensations, and emotions that arise as you pay attention to your breathing. If you get distracted by an external stimuli, that's fine. It's good. Just kindly acknowledge whatever it is that distracted or is distracting you. Let it be. And then come back to your breath. It's part of the practice to think and then come back to the present. It's like a mental push-up, training for the brain. Every time your puppy mind runs off is a push-up. And every time you come back, it's the push down. See if there's anything you can discover, anything you can learn about yourself as you just simply focus on the breath. And begin to kindly, gently, in your own way, your own time, if your eyes have been closed, to begin to open them. Thank you so much for practicing. Go off and, type away, see what's next in the course, and most importantly, be kind, be curious, and learn something about yourself as you breathe, as you work, as you interact with all the different people and situations in your life. Thank you so much for practicing with me.